Hi guys, so I'm wearing the same jumper and the same makeup as the last video that I uploaded because I'm filming them at the same time. I'm sure you would have guessed that yourself. But today I'm filming the Vampire Diaries tag, which I think was started, I'm pretty sure it was started by Ingrid from Miss Glamorazzi and Joey Graceffa last year, and quite a few people have done this. And I'd never seen it before, and as I am a massive Vampire Diaries fan, I watched it last night and I was like, oh, I'm going to film this tomorrow. So sad. Anyway, without me rambling on for longer as I usually do, let's get on with the question. Question 1 is, how did you discover the show? Basically, I had heard about the show and I had seen the trailers for it on TV and I had heard other people talking about it, but I really didn't think that it was going to be my cup of tea, basically because as bad as this sounds, I just automatically associated it with Twilight, and because I've seen all the Twilight films and I have in a weird sort of way enjoyed the films. It's a sort of love-hate thing I have with Twilight, but I hated the books. I couldn't read the books, I couldn't get through them, and it just wasn't really my thing. And so I thought, oh, I just dismissed Vampire Diaries and thought I'm not going to even bother starting with that. It's just the TV version of Twilight. And then I heard more and more people talking about it, and there was a night that I had nothing to do, and I thought I'm going to go round to like Asda and see if they have a cheap DVD that I can watch. And they had season 1 of the Vampire Diaries for about £7 or something, and I thought, I could give that a shot. I'll just give it a shot and see what I think. And I became completely and utterly addicted. Question 2 is, who's your favourite character? My favourite character probably is Damon. I think Damon, yes, I know what you're all thinking. We all fancy Damon. It's okay. We can all admit it and be okay with it. However, as well as the fact that he looks like that, I think Damon's also a really interesting character because he has so many sides to him, and he has the sort of bad boy side where it's like he's the bad boy but he's not really that bad. And then there are moments where he really does do terrible things, but there are also these moments where he's so selfless and he loves Elena so much and he would do anything for her, that it's this sort of combination of, he's so sort of like, I was going to say multifaceted, but it's not really that. He's just a really three-dimensional character, and his storylines and his sarcasm, also his sort of wit, just always makes me laugh, and it always sort of brightens up an episode. So Damon is my favourite character for many reasons. Question 3. If you were a vampire, would you live on human or animal blood? That's a really difficult sort of question. I think what Joey and Ingrid both said was live on the kind of blood bags from the hospital, so it is technically human blood but you don't have to actually kill anyone for it. A horrible, horrible thought. To be drinking human blood is awful. But anyway, if I was a vampire, I guess maybe that, because I think I would rather just drink human blood out of a blood bag than have to go out and kill a little deer or rabbit or something and feed on that. That just sounds horrendous. Question 4. Team Stefan or Team Damon? I don't know why I bother to answer this question really, because I think the answer is pretty obvious. I am very, very, very much Team Damon, Team Delena, because I just feel he's a more interesting character than Stefan. When Damon is not on his best behaviour, you can kind of see that it still stems from just trying to get things done, and he said something about that. I'm on season 4 at the moment, and he said something, was it to Klaus? I think it was to Klaus. He said, I don't mind being the bad guy to get things done. So if something needs to be done and everyone else is all going, oh no, we can't do that, or oh, Elena will be upset, or oh, we shouldn't do that, Damon just does it, and he says, I don't mind being the bad guy to kind of get to where we need to be. Whereas with Klaus, obviously he's a completely different kettle of fish. Why am I talking about this? This is a question of Team Stefan or Team Damon. Anyway, basically, the bottom line, I'm Team Damon. Question 5 is, what's your favourite supernatural power? Now, when Joey and Ingrid were doing this question, they were talking about just which of the kind of supernatural beings you would like to be. So, being a witch, or a werewolf, or a vampire, or a hybrid, if you're up to date. Which would you be? As I said, I would probably go for being a witch, because the powers that Bonnie has are pretty amazing, and quite scary actually sometimes, to see if she's kind of maybe losing control a little bit. It's really intense, but she can do so much. She can do anything really. and has kind of control over all of the rest of them. So a witch really is kind of, although vampires and werewolves can sort of bite and attack you and kill you, a witch is kind of still top of the sort of hierarchy of these supernatural beings. So I would say being a witch. Question number 6, if you were to be a character, who would you be? I would probably say that I would want to be Caroline, just because I love Caroline. Other than Damon, she's my favourite character. I think what was so brilliant was how they turned her from the first few episodes of being the kind of insecure, sort of stereotypical blonde cheerleader, insecure high school girl, to this really sensitive and like strong, powerful vampire. She's helping out the other vampires. She's not been a vampire for that long, but she's helping Stefan to control his kind of impulses and looking after Elena, and just, you know, she just seems like this really well-rounded person. And also Candice Ackle is gorgeous. I don't imagine that I would look like her if I was to be the character, but hey, that would be an added bonus. So yeah, I would be character number 7. Have you read the book series? No, I haven't read the book series. I'd sort of heard about the book series before the TV show. I think in the book, things are a bit different to how they are in the TV show, and so at this point I'm not actually intending to read them anytime soon, but you never know, maybe in the future I'll change my mind. Question 8, who is your crush on the show? Well, again, I think crush numero uno is probably pretty obvious. I may have mentioned him earlier in the video, this guy called Damon, but also on a par with Damon, and very occasionally taking over Damon, much to my discomfort because the character's a lot younger than me, but I have a major crush on Jeremy. Like, Jeremy is gorgeous. In season 1, I remember thinking, sort of towards the beginning of season 1, when he was in his kind of druggy phase and he had the really dark hair and the nail polish and all that kind of stuff, thinking, I think he's a really good looking guy underneath all the sort of angst. And then as time went on, you're just like, how you just turn into this like just gorgeous guy. And he's lovely as well. He's such a nice character. Definitely Jeremy's gorgeous, but the entire cast is just lovely. The entire cast is so attractive. So if you are looking for a show that you can have multiple crushes on various characters on, check out the Vampire Diaries, because they're all stunning. I also have a crush on Elijah, I have to say. Question number 9, what is it? What was your first initial thought of the show, and did it change after you saw it? Well, as I said in answer to the first question, initially I thought it was just going to be Twilight Part 2 in TV form, and it's so different and so much better. What I love about it is I don't think that people who don't watch it will give it enough credit. I think people who don't watch the Vampire Diaries will look at it and be like, ugh, teenage vampire drama, there we go. It's probably like what I thought. It's probably just like Twilight. There's a love triangle. It's just going to be another one of these teen drama vampire sort of romances, and it's not going to have much else to it. The history and the backstory and everything that they've built into this show is incredible. It's so hard to keep up with sometimes, because you're going, okay, who's on whose side and who's working with who, and where did this person come from and who are they running from, because usually people are running from someone, whether it be Klaus or running from Catherine or running from whoever. There's such a rich backstory, and one of my favourite episodes is in season 3, and it's where you find out all about the originals and what happened to the originals. And I loved seeing them sort of demonstrate how they became vampires and why they became vampires and how that all worked, and building in the kind of history with the witches and the werewolves. And there is so much going on, and it's so clever, and there are so many twists and turns and sort of mythology all built into it, that it's got so much more depth to it than I think people who don't watch it will ever give it credit for. The final question is, who's your favourite villain? And I think that's quite hard. I think my favourite villain is Klaus. Probably because for the most part he's so evil, but you do get these little glimpses, especially when he's with Caroline, of someone who really is sort of just lost and is very insecure and is very alone. But I think the thing about this show is that people who start off being particularly evil, a lot of the time you then learn more about them and you see that they're just part of a kind of like bigger they might do bad things, but bad things have been done to them and they're running just as much as anyone else is from the things that are trying to hurt them. You get this quite well-rounded feel that there isn't necessarily anyone who's 100% evil or anyone who's 100% good, because everyone has this sort of dark side to it. So that's it for my Vampire Diaries tag. I really hope that you enjoyed that. As I say, if you have not watched the Vampire Diaries, I don't know why you've watched this video, because I've just given you lots and lots of major spoilers, so I assume that anyone who has actually watched this video is a fan of the show. If you do this tag, I tag anyone who watches the Vampire Diaries to do this video, and if you do, link your video or leave me a comment letting me know that you've made the video, and I'll go over and watch it, because I would love to know what other people's favourite characters and favourite sort of villains and all that kind of stuff are. And so leave that in the comments down below, or just put in the comments who your favourite character is or what you first thought of the show and all that jazz. Anyway, I'll do my top 10 of Dexter next week, which I talked about in my previous video, which I will link here if you want to go and watch it, and it'll be linked at the end in the end card. So yeah, thank you so much for watching, guys, and I will speak to you again soon. Bye! So the first pretty exciting piece of news is that I'm going back to uni next week to do a postgrad, and this is really last